Welcome to Palermo, Sicily, and in this video I'm going to see how many of the sites I can visit when I'm in port for only half a day. My plan was to visit the cathedral, the opera house, the Norman Palace, Quattro Canti and the Praetorian Fountain. All of which are some of the top tourist attractions in Palermo. And one thing to note, that the time in port on a repositioning cruise is substantially shorter than on a standing cruise, which is why I was going to have to make the most of my time here. Now the first of the sites that's on my list is the Opera House. So I decided to cut into this courtyard and then head deeper into the city. And as I'm recording, I turn around and I see the site of this incredible church. I decided to double back and just take a slightly longer view, although as it wasn't on the agenda, I couldn't stay too long, I had places to be. Which when I got back to the ship, I realised I'd probably made a bit of a mistake, because the internals of that church were absolutely stunning. I caught a glimpse of the Opera House in the distance, so I decided to head up this narrow street, which was very pretty with its well-worn stone tile path and a great choice of restaurants. I decided to grab a quick drink at La Bogotà de Nonna Andrea. The service unfortunately was a little bit slow. However, the location was perfect and only a few steps away from the Opera House. Teatro Massimo is the largest opera house in all of Italy and was opened in 1897, and is where the dramatic ending of the movie The Godfather Part 3 was filmed. If you have more time here, there's a guided tour of the Opera House that costs €12. This is Via Maqueda, the street that will lead us to the next two stops on our journey. This is one of the most popular shopping streets in all of Palermo, with a vibrant mix of stores and street vendors. There's lots to choose here regardless of your budget. And mixed in with some interesting architecture and the smell of roast chestnuts. And of course there are plenty of places if you'd like to get a souvenir of your trip here. And just up ahead is Quattro Canti, which is the next place I wanted to visit. It's the heart of Palermo, as its two streets are the intersections of the four ancient areas of the city. The Baroque square was constructed in the early 1600s, with fountains at the ground level on all four sides, which represent the different seasons. Above that are the statues of the four Spanish kings, with the statues of the four female patron saints of Palermo on the next level above. The architecture here was absolutely stunning. I was completely blown away. But do be aware that this area isn't pedestrianised, so watch out for cars. A few steps away from here is the Piazza Pretoria with the Praetorian Fountain, which was relocated from Florence to Palermo in 1574 and was known as the Fountain of Shame due to its many nude statues. From here I retraced my steps down to Quattro Canti and turned left up towards the cathedral. This is the statue to Charles V, who was Holy Roman Emperor and the King of Spain for over 30 years in the 16th century. The statue itself was originally planned to be in the centre of the Quattro Canti, but was erected here nearby. This is Casara, the oldest street in Palermo. The street dates back over 2,700 years, and you can thank the Phoenicians for that. In fact, Palermo is one of the most conquered cities in the world, with the Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Normans, Spanish amongst others, all having control of the city, until it finally became part of the Kingdom of Italy after unification. And only after a few minutes walk, I arrived at the absolutely stunning Palermo Cathedral. Even all the scaffolding couldn't take away from the beauty of this building. And in the centre of the courtyard of the cathedral is a statue to Santa Rosalia, who is the patron saint of Palermo. Church was erected here in 1185 and has been added to over the centuries. This stunning three-arch portico took over 200 years to construct. It's free to enter the cathedral, but if you'd like to visit the crypt, treasury and access the roof, there's a charge of €8. Unlike other cathedrals I've visited, Palermo Cathedral is bathed in light. I spent quite a while in here exploring the artefacts and statues, and could have easily spent longer as this place was packed with historical items. And the architecture was absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, our stay in Palermo was now coming to an end. There just wasn't the time to go and visit the Norman Palace. So I headed down to the old harbour to have a look around here on my way back to the ship. And I got back to the cruise port with just a few minutes to spare. It was a bit of a relief to see the ship again. I didn't want to be on one of those pier runner videos, or even worse, get left behind. Now back on board the beautiful Marella Explorer, it was time to get a little bit of lunch. So I headed up to the Mediterranean Bar and Restaurant on deck 11. This is a tapas restaurant in the evenings, but during the day they serve light bites. We had a chicken and bacon wrap and a sweet chili roll, along with some paella, which was ideal after a few hours in port. However, Sailway had been delayed for over half an hour due to a few stragglers that were late back to the ship. I had an absolutely fantastic time in Palermo. Obviously, the thing about cruising is you only ever get a taste of the ports you visit. And with so much in Palermo that I just didn't get around to doing, it's definitely back on the list for somewhere to visit again in the future. I spent the rest of the afternoon and the early evening relaxing on the outdoor decks. And the moon was this incredible red cover, hovering on the horizon. You just can't see this on land. Tonight's dinner was going to be in latitude 53, which is the main dining room on board the ship. While the menu here isn't exactly extensive, they do offer vegan, vegetarian and gluten-free options. And as the drinks package is included within the cruise fare, I decided to have a glass of Prosecco to start the meal off right. For starters, I went with a roast prawn velouté, followed by Angus steak au poivre, both of which were absolutely delicious. It took me quite a bit of time to decide what I wanted for dessert, and in the end I went for the pavlova, which again was fantastic. After dinner, I decided to go to the Indigo Bar and check out the people that were having dancing lessons. It's hosted by the exceptionally talented Ukrainian dancers who are part of the entertainment company, who are happy to be sharing their many years of knowledge to those guests willing to try. Although I'm not sure the world is ready for my dancing efforts quite yet. And down in the Broadway show lounge, the captain is introducing the rest of the heads of departments to the audience. And tonight's entertainment was going to be from English singer-songwriter Lorraine Crosby. Whose claim to fame was the female vocalist on Meatloaf's 1993 hit single, I'd Do Anything for Love. She put on a pretty good show. It was just a shame there wasn't many more people in the audience. The Squid and Anchor was the venue for the late night entertainment, where house band Beats were playing a mix of classic and modern tunes. They put on a great show before I headed back to my cabin to get some well-deserved rest. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing.